the critical response or reflection really has to do with being in a non-judgmental space where there really are no wrong answers. This isn't about judging the work. It's really about unpacking and looking at the work more deeply as a group, as a community. And through that action of noticing through memory, through analogy, through questions and speculation, what we do is we start to understand our own work better. So as the people that are reflecting on the work, our own practice grows, and then the person's work that's getting reflected on also starts to see their work through other people's eyes. You never have to go through a reflection. You're always invited. So what we'll be doing is we'll be taking a look at this work through this lens, through noticing, through memory, through emotion, what you're feeling, through questions that the work will raise in you, and finally this important piece about the intention of the artist. What were they intending or trying to convey or investigating in the work? At this point, what I'm going to do is go back and we're going to look at Dane's piece. And Dane, you're going to let all of this sort of wash over you. You just get to bathe in this. You don't have to defend anything at any time. You just get to listen. Sometimes artists take notes. Often they just sit and listen. And the rest of us, I will call on you one-on-one, and I will remind you of the question. And then we'll go around we go around once or twice generally in order to unpack the drawing even further. I'm wondering what it is that you're noticing about this piece. And when you share, just share one piece of information. Don't give me everything that you know, because we want to leave some stuff for some other people. So so we'll start with that. And so just take a moment to look.
I notice the extraordinary observation that Dane made in the way in which he captured, as you alluded to before, Linda, the shadings and the depth of field, especially in that left hand. There's something very powerful about these hands. There's a strength that is expressed in his line drawing.
So what is it that makes you, what is it about the drawing that makes it feel powerful?
I think it's, first of all, the composition. The way in which he had both hands on the paper, and they're both different, but I think it's the line, the way he captured the actual outline. It's very definite. It's very strong, and I want to know more about these hands.
Like Carol, I also noticed the really intricate shading. And I also noticed the very strong outline of the actual hand. And I think it gives it a certain amount of force and strength.
Can you talk about that shading? What do you notice about that shading?
I also noticed that the shading is really uniformed, that whatever area on the hand is being shaded, the lines are the same length, whether it's shorter around, let's say, the underhand of the hand or the fingers, or whether they're longer when it comes down to the forearm. So there's a uniformity to the shading.
And Ed, what do you notice about this drawing?
The two things that jumped out at me was one is the inclusion of whatever bone that is on the wrist. For some reason, it pleasantly surprised me to see that. It feels like it's something that would be, glossed over. So I was kind of glad to see that. the other thing that jumped out at me, strangely enough, is that when I see two hands in a frame, I assume that they're different hands.
Right.
And these were the same hands.
And so what was it about the hands that helped you understand that?
Well, the thumbs were on the same side.
Right. So they're both left hands.
Yeah.
Excellent. I was hoping someone would unpack that. Thank you, Ed.